Buena Park Police Department is hard at work making sure the streets and the alleyways are safe. This is Crime Watch.
Good here? What happened? 310 So no one had a fight? We got a call of a fight. Was anyone beating each other up, or were you guys pushing each other around, or? Brother, I'm just asking. I got to be able to tell them what happened.
Sergeant Carter, we're en route to another call, but there was a report of a fight and happened to be in the area, right?
Yeah, on 8th Street, while we were en route to the train station, there was a call of a fight in progress. And I was close by, so we diverted and went to that location. And when we got there, there was 4 young people who were outside. I asked them if they'd seen anything, and they said they'd seen nothing. It's kind of unusual that someone would report a fight like that, but oftentimes that's what happens. People get in an argument, push and shove, and run off. Or someone may see something they believe is a fight, and it's just people horsing around.
Is it bad for people to call the police department when they see things like that?
Not at all. Actually, we prefer that they do, because oftentimes people see something, they think, I don't want to bother, or I don't want to get involved.
Or it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. And it later turns out that it was something significant. So we'd rather be able to show up on that call and make the determination ourselves.
32, is this a different incident? Negative, it's the same.
So we're going to be here in the role of a safety officer, just in case anything happens. Oftentimes we get members of the public who either, 1, don't know what we're doing, or 2, have a different opinion on how we should be enforcing the laws, and they'll let us know. And we never know if it's going to turn into something more than a verbal incident, so it's nice to have a partner there to give you a little extra comfort, a little safety there. We don't want our partner officers trying to do something with their job where they can't give full attention to their surroundings, so that's why we have cover officers for safety.
I would think that's often where it's not just about the situation that the officer is handling, but you've got people with, their phone cameras and maybe heckling and all sorts of things going on beyond the actual incident.
Absolutely. The advent of the camera, not only with the public but also with the police department, has actually been a boon to the law enforcement community, because it is a unedited version of the incident as it occurs and unfolds, and anyone can view it. So it takes out any allegations of wrongdoing, or it documents allegations of wrongdoing, because ultimately we want to be able to do the best job we can in the way that the law prescribes.
If you can handle the station call on Blue Jay, RP was advised as possibly a civil matter that wants to talk to an officer.
All right, so the driver of the vehicle was arrested for something, and the vehicle is going to be towed pursuant to a vehicle code section. And while the officer was standing by for the tow truck, someone from the apartment complex started yelling things. And the things that he was yelling were unnerving to the officer. He felt that it was an unsafe situation where he would have divided attention, would not be able to safely conduct his business. So he asked for an additional officer, and that was the time that we just happened to be driving by.
It's interesting. There have been a lot of officers that have come by this way, just with the idea of he needed some help in making sure it was secure.
That's right. What happens is officers, as well as just doing our own job and going to our own calls, we're listening to the calls that are going on around us. We're always listening to see if there's an officer by himself, if there's an officer who might need assistance. When we are not busy on a call and we see another officer by himself on a call, generally we'll try to drive by, especially if it's a traffic stop or something where he's interacting with a member of the public. Oftentimes members of the public are unhappy that there's police interaction. It's important that we walk by, drive by, just to check on our partners and make sure that they're safe.
Not everybody likes you guys, huh?
No, it happens. Usually when you have contact with the police in a vehicle on the road, it's going to be for some sort of vehicle code violation. We have to have a reason to pull you over and make contact with you. That's not always a positive thing. So on a call like this where the vehicle was contacted, they might have had a difference of opinion with an officer. Someone watching might have known them or had a difference of opinion. We never know. We just want to be safe.
Sergeant Carter, what kind of a call are we going on now?
This is a report of a fight. Multiple subjects in a fight, possibly armed with weapons such as boards or pipes or bats.
What are the things that the officers think about when there is a fight like this? What's going through your mind?
Well, we're trying to get an idea in our head as what we can expect when we get there. When you're talking about a fight with weapons, you're talking about the possibility of assault with a deadly weapon type of crime going down, so you're thinking about that. There's officer safety issues that we need to consider. Anyone with any kind of weapon can turn the most mundane situation into one for life and death, so we have to be prepared for that. We're thinking in our head how we're going to approach, what direction they were last seen running, what we might encounter, where my follow-up officers are, what kind of actions I need to be available to take or think about I might have to take when I get there. It could be something as simple as saying hello to people and telling them to stop, or it could be a life and death situation where we have to use lethal force.
It helps for the officers to really know the lay of the city so that they know those different areas where you need to respond to.
Absolutely. There's two things that we need to know about on any call. Number one, the area where we're at, and number two, the type of tactics. Now, when I talk about tactics, I'm not only talking about physical actions that we use, I'm also talking about things that we say, how we ask questions, how we talk to people. We can either escalate or de-escalate a situation with our posture, the things we say, the way we move. We need to be aware of all of these things in split seconds, making those decisions that are accurate right every time.
As easy as that, right?
Just like that.
what's going on behind us?
Officers came to this area because there was a report of a large fight with multiple subjects. When the officers arrived on location, several subjects ran into this alleyway. The officer followed him in the alleyway where he was able to detain 3 subjects seated behind us. When he started talking to them, he found that one of them was in possession of handgun ammunition. However, the handgun is not here. The officer believes that it's possible that one of these subjects threw a handgun over a fence into one of the neighboring residences. So I have officers now over those residences knocking on doors, see if we can check the backyards to make sure that the gun wasn't thrown over there. Once we make a determination if a gun was involved or not, we'll be able to decide what kind of crime we have here. Right now, we're just responding to possible fight with weapons, and we're going to take it from there.
As we're leaving this call, now what are we going to?
Well, there's a report of a petty theft that just occurred at Walmart with 2 subjects running out the doors and out onto La Palma. So we're going to head that direction and see if we can find them.
You see that sergeants can multitask driving backwards and being able to interview at the same time. Pretty good. Now we've got the tones going out on the radio. What's going on?
Well, we're getting a call back out in the area of that alley where we were at a fight earlier. Someone is overhearing another person yelling, "You stabbed so-and-so," or "There is a gun, someone's got a gun." When we hear things like that coming from persons who are reporting on the phone,
We have several units on 97.
we take it very seriously. We never know that the information we get to go on calls comes in from the public. It could be absolutely accurate or it could be completely false. But with allegations that serious, we're absolutely duty bound to go check it out.
And what does the beeping on the radio mean?
Normally we use our radio channels to dispatch officers to calls. You'll have multiple officers talking on the radio at any given time. One person at a time can transmit. But if you have a lot of officers doing a lot of different things, it's hard to get emergency information out. When we have an emergency, we have a tone that is broadcast over the radio that everyone understands. Stop talking. Important information is coming out. Once the tone goes out, everyone stops talking, and the dispatch is allowed to put out that information, which is so important. In this case, it's, "I need units to get to this location as soon as possible because," and then they explain what's going on.
Have a confirmed 2.5 stabbing, starting fire.
Well, the firm got the medics coming this way.
1039.
21 and 24 break, and those calls correspond to practice. They're already going to be coming when they hear this kind of call. I put it out on the radio, so it's documented on the radio that we know that they're coming. Mike Ferguson, Dave Ramsey.
As we're en route to this incident, why don't you tell us what's going to happen when we get there? Because being the shift sergeant, he's going to be involved with the crime scene.
Okay, so here's what we got. We have a confirmed stabbing at this location. Suspects are outstanding. We don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. What we've done is we've cordoned off the area, establishing a crime scene. We're looking for people who can give us eyewitness testimony as to what's occurred. That way we'll have an idea who the witnesses are, who the suspects might be, so that we can head that direction, take a look, see if we can find more information to locate them. Our immediate need here is to take care of the stabbing victim, make sure they get medical aid while we're securing the scene.
So there are quite a few officers going to this scene. Why do you need all the officers?
There's multiple things that are going on. Again, like I said, we have to take care of the victim. Someone has to stay with them. We have to get a statement. We have to contact witnesses. We have to protect the scene. And then we have to actively follow any leads for a suspect so we can make, hopefully, an arrest in this case.
Is there any potential that the suspect could come back to the location to cause more trouble?
Absolutely, and that's why we have safety in numbers. There's plenty of duties for everyone to do, and when we're there, we're also paying attention to what's going on around us. A suspect may still be in the area. There may be some friendly people or people who are friendly with that suspect. There may still be some sort of grudge. Obviously, this is some sort of crime that's very violent, and it takes a certain level of emotion to make that kind of crime happen. It could still continue. So when we're there, we're on our toes, paying attention to what we're doing, but also providing security for each other.
Now, it's interesting to note, there was one officer, two officers that got there very quickly. We're en route to the scene, but you're not using your lights and sirens to get there.
That's correct. We have enough officers on scene there right now. As I was listening to the radio, officers were arriving. There's no need for me to run with my lights and sirens to a scene where they're already there. In fact, it may make more of a risk for the public if I'm driving that way at this time to that location where it's not urgent life and death matter for me to be there at that moment.
And to note, it's 6 o'clock at night on a Friday, so traffic's heavy. There's obviously been a lot more activity that has happened in the past few hours, and this all plays into everything that's going on right now.
That's the Angel, Alpha November call.
They're waiting for us.
And 22 we get to see on 5 weeks.
They're in the alley between 7th and 8th.
There's a lot going on there, as well as the heavy, heavy rain that came in.
It certainly was. What turned out was there was a fight that occurred in the garage area of the apartment complex. When we arrived, we found a stabbing victim in the laundry room. He identified another subject that was out in the garage area as the person who stabbed him. When we contacted that person, who we'll call a suspect, the suspect said, yeah, we got in a fight and this guy beat me up for no reason and I was on the ground and he continued to beat me up and I stabbed him. So we need to do further investigation to corroborate the stories of both of these individuals. Arrests may follow, definitely a lot of reports, but the most immediate need is taking care of their physical needs. They both have injuries and we have to take care of both of those. So the story we get right now may be a different story in an hour, but right now we have two people who were involved in an altercation. One of them got stabbed, the other one got beat about the face pretty hard, and they both require medical aid. We got the medical aid, and now we'll sort the rest out.
That's just crazy, but it's not just the officers that are involved here. You probably need to talk to the detectives or whatever, because they'll be following up on this after?
Exactly. The items, based on the story that was there, the items that we found at the location, the story that we got at the location, the statements made by people involved, and some other witnesses, they all fit together neatly. They all make sense. But we do still contact the Detective Bureau and find out, is there anything else that we need to do? Do we need to have a detective come out and do some other investigation? So we'll lay it out for them and take some advice from the Detective Bureau.
Crazy. I'm glad you guys get this all. This is complicated.
It's very complicated. It takes years and years of practice. Like anything that you do well, repetition, repetition, repetition makes it easier, and you generally do a better job.
Hello, I'm Corey Sinez. I'm your police chief here in the city of Buena Park. And I want to make sure I keep you updated on things that your Buena Park Police Department is doing to make sure that we continue to provide the highest level of service to you as community members. So recently, over the past 3 years, your police department has been going through an accreditation process. And this accreditation process is through CALEA. And CALEA stands for Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It's a national recognized accreditation process that only a few agencies in the country have been able to be accredited through this process. Back in 2013, June of 2013, a couple years after I'd become chief here, I wanted to make sure that our department was doing what they were supposed to be doing and was following best practices and best standards. So I did some research into CALEA and went to the City Council and asked them to approve us moving forward with the accreditation process through CALEA. So since June of 2013, we have been going through what they call a self-assessment process here at the police department with CALEA. And that means that there's over 400 standards that CALEA requires police departments to have, and we have to make sure that our current policies and procedures match those standards. And it's quite a egregious process to go through because we have to change a lot of our policies and procedures. And so we've just recently done that, and we've had what they call an on-site inspection. And that on-site inspection is where we have two objective outside CALEA accreditors come into our police department and take a look at our entire operation, our buildings, our policies and procedures, and what they do is they make sure that we are meeting their standards. And I'm happy to say that just a couple weeks ago we went through that process and we pretty much got a thumbs up that everything was good. There were no issues whatsoever, and we are looking forward to going to a conference, a CALEA conference in Baltimore, Maryland at the end of July to receive our accreditation. Now this is a huge, huge accomplishment for our police department. And it's not saying that we were very good. We were a great police department, but there's always room to improve. And it's always good when you have somebody from the outside come in and take a look at what we're doing, making sure that we're doing it right and that we're meeting those high standards that you as community members expect from us. So sometime after the end of July, we will hopefully receive accreditation through CALEA. And I know that the City Council is looking at doing some kind of celebration to recognize the police department for that great accomplishment. And the credit goes to the men and women here at the police department who day in and day out just do a phenomenal job to provide public safety service to this community. And there's a couple of individuals in our department that were assigned as accreditation managers that really put out a lot of effort and really pushed the organization to make sure that they met the timelines that CALEA requires for us to get this all done. But I'm happy to say that July will be the time we will receive accreditation, and I'm really, really excited about it. So you should be excited about it because your kids, your children go to accredited schools. And I always say, why wouldn't you want your police department to be accredited? Why wouldn't you want them to meet the highest standards and follow the best practices, national best practices in this nation? Because I believe we should, and we do. And so I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of our department. I'm really proud of the men and women here. And I'm looking forward to, after July, to be an accredited agency. So I will keep you up to date. And in my next Chief's Corner, I hope to give you a little bit of follow-up on whether or not we received accreditation. I'm very confident that we will. And then we'll have another topic to talk to you about. So thank you very much, and be safe.
If you have any questions tonight, you can call the Buena Park Police Department at 562-3901. With Sergeant Brett Carter, I'm Jane Cameron. Thanks for watching.